How are you?
Hello. Good. Nice to
Um,
meet you.
you as well. I just want to say first that I really enjoyed this movie. I thought it was scary. I love that it kind of hit the ground running, and I love that it went against my thing as a child. That if I named the monsters, it made them less scary. So I felt like naming him something like Larry actually made it worse, um, in a good
Well,
way.
thank you. That's funny. Yeah.
Yeah, you're welcome. So my first question is kind of like a quick two-parter. I was wondering what inspired you to write this film, and also what made you want to have the child be a nonverbal autist child with autism.
Yeah. So the start as a short film that I had made, and I got the opportunity to make it as a feature, which I'm really grateful for. And when I was sort of expanding it as the feature, I was trying to think of like sort of who would be the family at the center of it, that this would sort of affect them in the worst way, because in a horror movie you want people to go through like the worst moment of their life, right? And so I started thinking about a family that needed the devices to communicate with each other.
Mhm.
And at the same time, I've actually had a window sort of into the sort of autism community for a while. My wife works with kids on the spectrum, and so
Oh,
I've learned to sort of like really love a bunch of those kids and understand sort of the community in a way that I don't think I would have otherwise. And so, having long wanted a kid with autism to sort of be the star of his own movie, and then having this movie about technology kind of work together in such a perfect
mhm.
way. And yeah, I don't know. I think it ended up working out.
I think it did. Like I absolutely love the way you use the devices because as someone I'm not in that same world. So I didn't realize that there were these apps and things that could be used to help them speak. And I think using that in a way that Larry also speaks to them, whether it's the app itself or with the clips of the television shows and movies, I thought that was really smart and fun and added to so much tension. Were there
Thank
any other
you.
devices that you didn't get to use that you were really hoping you could sneak in?
um, well, I've it was so much fun coming up with different ways for Larry to try to communicate with us.
Mhm.
It was, I didn't want to show Larry too much because I think in a horror
Yeah,
movie, like you want to show the monster as little as possible.
yeah,
Um,
I
and
agree
and
with
so
you.
all these different ways, him talking through the phone or him showing up sort of through video montages, like those were all really good ways for us to feel his presence without seeing him. And
Mhm.
there are a whole host of other ideas I have for how Larry can manifest in different ways using technology, that, hopefully we'll get to explore at some point. But, I tried to use the most fun ones for the movie itself.
The way it ends, it almost can be set up a little bit for a sequel. Do you have plans for that? Are you working on that? Is that a thing that you would love to do?
Well, I no spoilers about the ending,
No, I don't. I'm not
but
mentioning it, but it's set up. It
uh,
could possibly head that way.
yeah, I mean, look, I wanted to make a movie that completely stood on its own, that felt like the sort of emotional journey of the film and the characters was complete. At the same time, there's so much more to explore with these characters and with Larry the monster. So it's definitely something that we've talked about, I've thought about, and I would love to explore the character further.
Awesome. And just for anyone, when watching the trailer, people could possibly compare it to Slender Man or Babadook. And as someone who's seen the movie, I can say it stands on its own. So, for my final thought, what would you say to those people that might be like, I've seen it?
Yeah, I mean, look, I love those characters, and I mean, The Babadook is a great movie. I mean, yeah, I don't know, it's a very different movie. This movie
Mhm.
feels, I would say, more like something like Poltergeist or sort
Yeah.
of the early Amblin movies. I could only hope to make a movie as good as those. But I wanted to make a film that was, of course, very scary and terrifying, full of suspense, but at the same time had so much heart and empathy and compassion. Steven Spielberg called it a compassionate horror movie the first time he saw it, and that, to me, that really is emblematic of the kind of
That's
movie I
beautiful.
wanted to make, and what we did make.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for chatting with me today. I hope everyone watches this movie because it's fantastic.
Thank you so much. I
You're
appreciate it.
welcome.